I'm Ella, I'm the art technician at Worcester campus for the art and design course, and today we're going to be looking at how to make a repeat image and how to print your own wrapping paper with it. Basically, we're going to be printing onto just a nice big sheet of brown paper. It's dead cheap, you can get it for about £1 from Wilkinson's, so it's really nice, and this way you've got something that's your own and original. So we're going to start off, we've just got a piece of just A4 paper, because that's the size that I'm going to be printing this on. I'll talk about that later. But you just need a sheet of A4 paper to start, a pencil to do your drawing with. We're going to need a pair of scissors to be cutting up the image to make it into a repeat tile. We're going to need some tape for that. And if you don't want to use scissors as well, you could use a craft knife and a ruler, because we're going to have to measure this to be cutting it up. So this is sort of the thing that we're going to be ending up with, but printing onto here. So like I said, you could use it as wrapping paper, but also with this technique, you could learn how to print cards. You could do festive prints with it. I'm going to begin my design. The main thing is when making a repeat pattern is you want your design to be sort of contained within the center of the page, because we're going to move it around and it will fill the edges, and then we'll fill the empty spaces. But for the main bit of the start of the pattern, you want to start in the middle. Okay, so that is my nice festive design. So the way that we're going to turn this into a repeat pattern that you can keep printing in blocks so it will all join up nicely is we need to split this into 4 rectangles. We need to measure it. So you're going to go on the top half of your page there. I'll then be measuring along here. And then you're just going to join those together to make your rectangles. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut these up into separate rectangles. We're going to rearrange them, take them together, fill the empty space, and it's that simple. It will be done. So I have this. What I need to do now is I'm going to swap the corners around, and that's going to form the edges of our tile, fill the middle, and then these will link together. So you're going to take the top left-hand corner and the bottom right-hand corner and literally just switch those round. And then you're going to take the top right-hand corner and the bottom left-hand corner, same again, literally just switch those round. So our design now is sort of at the edges, and then we're going to be filling the space in the middle. Grab your tape. And you don't want to necessarily do the entire strip, because we're going to have to basically imprint this onto our printing block and it will struggle to go through the tape. This is how it looks at the moment. So I've got my design is sort of at the edges, but I've got this blank space in the middle. So what we're going to do is just going to fill that up. So it's completely, you will have designed this before, you'll know what you're doing. I'm going to wing this a little bit. I'm just going to do more stars because that's all I can think of at Christmas. The next step is putting it onto a printing block, which we can then use on the paper. So one way of printing like this, it's called relief printing, is what we're going to be doing, is traditionally you would use a block of lino cut. Lino cut is really expensive and also really difficult to sort of carve into. So this is a much cheaper, easier alternative, which is polystyrene sheets. So I've just laid this on top of my block. They usually come in A4, A3. Obviously you can cut them to the size you want, but they work quite well that size, because it means that if you draw something, it will just lay on. So all I'm doing is I'm just going round and I'm literally just taping it onto the block. We have the design on here. This is going to be the simplest thing to use, is literally a biro pen, but you could use a craft knife, you could use a protractor, or a very sharp pencil, but it can't be blunt because it won't go through. But what we're going to do is we're going to imprint the design onto the plate, but we don't need to draw the lines completely because we'll shred through the paper and you might lose your design a bit. So the first step is just imprinting in basically a dot-to-dot method that you're going to join up once you take the design off. It's really easy. It goes through the paper and you can hear it, you can feel when it goes through it. So I won't do the whole thing, but that's the gist. Obviously the colour doesn't change. You do have to look quite close so you can feel it as well. See where it is. And what we're going to do is we're now going to connect these together. The only thing we need to be careful about is, I believe this is about 2 mil thickness. So they're thin and they're also, I mean, I'll just do an example because I won't be printing with this one, but they break very easily. They're very thin. So you can also pretty easily puncture straight through the plate, and I didn't put that much pressure and it will go through, which we don't want to do. We just want to indent this surface. So when we roll the ink on, it won't go into the line you've created, it will sit on top of the plate, and that's how you make your print. So when you're doing it, you basically, it's a bit of a funny technique, you can use a series of dots again, but really close together to make a line. And then if you sort of rub over them a bit, this will create that relief. And you can see, you might be able to, can't see it on this side because it hasn't gone through, but you can see it there. That's where the ridge is, and the ink will sit here and it won't go into the surface that you've cut, and that will create your design. I've got my surface that I'm printing on, and like I said, I'm doing this for the purpose of wrapping paper, so I've chosen some nice brown paper. So what we're going to need for this is you're going to need to have 2 rollers, one to ink our plate with and one to press it onto the surface of the paper and roll over to give it pressure. You need something to put your ink on because we're going to have to roll the ink out to be a nice even consistency to then roll onto the plate. Otherwise, if you were to put the ink directly on here and to roll it on, it's really thick ink, which you'll see, and it won't spread evenly. So when you're printing it, you'll probably get areas where the ink won't have rolled over properly and areas where it's saturated too much. So, ink. You don't need to use a lot. You want to use what we call a thumb-sized amount. Tends to be, I'm actually probably doing a bit more than that, but I would say roughly that. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll it across the plate so it's a nice even consistency, and you can see how sticky that is. So then what you're going to do is, don't do this onto your paper like I was about to, because you'll probably go over the edges and then you'll grab the paper, which you don't want. And then literally, and you'll need to go back for more ink, and that's fine. But here you can see I'm using a fair amount of pressure to make sure that I'm really getting on top, but you can already see how this plate is going to print. So you can see where the ink isn't going into the lines that you cut earlier. So you sort of get an idea of how it's going to look, which is quite exciting. I've inked my plate. That's good to go. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it down on the paper. Make sure that's on. And then using the clean roller, really important. You definitely use the clean one, don't use the ink one. And then I actually do use a fair amount of pressure on this. Okay, moment of truth. Cool. You'll need to re-ink it. So you can already see where it's gone a bit thinner. You might need to get some more ink. Mine's looking a little on the thin side. But just quickly to show you how they'll link up. So you just line it up and it should line up accurately. So get that to there. That hopefully is lined up. Cool. So you can see where the top of it has linked up with the bottom of the other design, and that's what makes this a repeat pattern. And there we are.